Ya Alimadat, welcome and bienvenue. My name is Ziyana Vasaya, and thank you for joining us for another special episode of FNR. Tonight, we will reflect on a special week and a half. Prince Hussain and Princess Farheen visited Canada for the Canadian premiere of The Living Sea, Fragile Beauty. The exhibition features the work of Prince Hussain and highlights the majesty, beauty, and fragility of our oceans and seas. The exhibition has already toured various locations in East Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, amongst others, and is the latest manifestation of Prince Hussain's lifelong passion for photography and the natural world. Prince Hussain's photographs of the miraculous creatures, some of which we will share with you this evening, will inshallah spur our collective imagination and inspire us to further educate ourselves and commit to protecting Allah's creation. We begin our show tonight with an address by our very own Ismaili Laka, President of the Council for Canada. Then I will take you with me as we explore the exhibition in Calgary and Toronto and review some of the exciting events of the past week. We will conclude, as we usually do, with our soulful sounds. So let's get started. Here is President Laka.
My dear brothers and sisters, Ya Alimadat, we have been honored to host Prince Hussain and his wife, Princess Farheen, in Canada on the occasion of the launch of Prince Hussein's exhibition entitled The Living Sea, Fragile Beauty. I want to offer heartfelt Mubarakis to the Jamaat for the visit of Prince Hussain and Princess Farheen to Canada. The Living Sea exhibition celebrates the beauty of the ocean and conveys Prince Hussein's incredible encounters under the waves of the ocean. The exhibition is a testament to Prince Hussein's lifelong interest, passion, and commitment to the cause of conservation and environmental stewardship. Apart from his institutional work with the Aga Khan Development Network, Prince Hussain is the founder of Focused on Nature, an organization whose mission is to assist in the conservation and protection of threatened and endangered species, as well as habitat conservation. Prince Hussein's works have been exhibited in many cities around the world, and we are fortunate to stage the exhibition in Calgary and Toronto. Prince Hussein's underwater explorations highlight the complexity, diversity, spirituality, and beauty of the oceans. They capture the vastness, depth, and mystery of the ocean and remind us of how little we know about the world we live in and how much more there is to discover. The challenges of ocean stewardship, climate change, and environmental conservation are pressing global issues of our time. They are indiscriminate of geography, political affiliation, cultural background, or belonging, and require concerted efforts from all aspects of society. The threats to our oceans include rising sea levels, changing salinity, rising ocean temperatures, increased contamination, pollutants, and endangerment of marine life. These are consequences and interactions which cannot be understood in isolation, but rather as part of an extraordinarily complex and interconnected web. I encourage the Jamaat to visit the exhibition when it is hosted in your respective cities. The Living Sea exhibition reminds us of our obligation to serve as stewards of the ocean and its inhabitants, our responsibilities to nature, to each other, and to our future generations. It will spark new questions, provoke new thoughts, surface new emotions, and inspire new actions in addressing some of the foremost challenges of our time. Thank you.
Thank you, President Saib, for providing that wonderful context. And welcome to Toronto on this gorgeous spring day where the second half of Prince Hussain's visit to Canada unfolded. Before we delve into some of the experiences from the past week, we have a brief interlude where we get a glimpse of the magic behind Prince Hussain's underwater experiences. I hope you enjoy it. Wasn't that amazing? To me, it felt surreal to watch, almost as if I was there myself. Now, over the past 9 days here in Canada, Prince Hussain attended a series of events meeting with and speaking to leaders from the business, civil society, and government communities, including representatives of the Jamaat. Let's take a peek.
We see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Nikrukwa, we live in an environment that was built through this genetics. And in this environment, water animals, all the animals and plants, the vacuum in space and humans, we call each other relatives. Those are our relations. We have to look after each other in the environment like relatives so that we can survive in the future. But at the same time, we look after ourselves and the environment together. So I'm honored to be able to open today with that recognition of relatives. I see everybody here as my relatives, but I also see the exhibit and the animals or the sea creatures as my relatives, the water as my relatives. So with that, I just want to honor all of you as my relatives. Welcome to the territory, and I'll acknowledge Creator to give us a safe space so that we can enjoy our visit.
At U Calgary, we're so proud to connect with our community and provide a platform for exchanging knowledge across disciplines. Our commitment to entrepreneurial thinking extends beyond just business and into the fields of arts and environmental sciences. And that's something we'll explore today through the inspiring work of Prince Hussain Aga Khan. And this is an exhibition that is a powerful reminder of the delicate balance that exists in our natural world and the importance of conservation efforts to protect our planet for future generations.
Consider the following stats. 68% of wildlife lost over 40 years. Plastic production set to quadruple. 91% of plastic never recycled. A third of all shark and cetacean species at risk of extinction already. Well over half of the Great Barrier Reef affected by coral bleaching. And we're likely to lose 70 to 90% more of our coral within the next 20 years. That's 70 to 90% of all remaining corals within 20 years. Some of my best memories, most memorable encounters, and favorite animals are featured here. But perhaps that should not be the takeaway. Ideally, visitors will fall in love with my subjects, gain interest or maintain interest in them, learn about their plight, and consider ways they might help. Help ecosystems and their inhabitants, the planet itself, and ultimately humanity as a result. Thank you all so much. Welcome to my wonderland. Enjoy your visit. Know there are thousands of blurry and overexposed pictures behind the ones you see. And thank you very much. Let me know if there are any questions.
It is in the spirit and respect of land, culture, and traditions that we welcome you today to the Living Sea Fragile Beauty exhibit, a conversation with Prince Hussain Aga Khan. The exhibition features the photography of Prince Hussain and celebrates the beauty and magic of the ocean, testifying to some of the most enthralling and surprising encounters our esteemed guest has experienced under the surface. The exhibit has been on display here at the Glenbow at the Edison for the last week and has drawn immense attention and enthusiasm for its vibrant undersea images, the personalities of marine life, and the important message of environmental sustainability.
Prince Hussain Aga Khan, Princess Farheen Aga Khan, Your Excellency the Lieutenant Governor, Senator Mubina Jaffa, Your Worship the Mayor, parliamentarians, and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of all of us here today, I wanted to extend a very warm welcome to Prince Hussain, Princess Farheen, for coming for the first time, I think, in almost a decade to Canada. And their first port of call has been the city of Calgary. We wanted to also offer our immense gratitude to you for sharing your beautiful work, your knowledge and wisdom and experiences, most of all, of life under the ocean, and perhaps to bring awareness to all of us for the importance to humanity as a whole in ensuring that that global asset to humanity is preserved and it is allowed to flourish. I recall from many years ago, in Prince Hussain's childhood, his first excursions to Kenya, where he went on safari, took out his Kodak Instamatic at the time, and just simply clicked away at every animal that he could see in a totally random fashion. But in observing him, I realized it wasn't just a photographic enthusiasm, but he was actually watching to see what they were doing and why they were actually doing it. So I think that this passion for studying wildlife was very much in his youth. Later on, I had the privilege of working with Prince Hussain in California when Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor there, who is himself a very strong advocate of the environment and climate. And then later on, most recently, at the pilot, I would say, of this current set of exhibitions at the conclusion of His Highness's Diamond Jubilee year in Lisbon, where we actually had the opportunity to display some of his work at that time. And I think that triggered this extraordinary curiosity, if not awe, that was engendered by his beautiful photographs. So on behalf of all of us, welcome to Calgary, welcome to Canada, and we very much look forward to seeing the exhibition in short order. Thank you, Prince Hussain.
So, for a little bit of knowledge, your first exhibition of your photographs took place in 2004 in New York, which showcased rainforest. As you're saying, you started above land and then into the sea. Yep. Since then, your photographs have been and continue to be shown in venues around the world, including at the upcoming United Nations 2023 Climate Change Conference in Dubai. Yep. Can you tell us about the evolution of this journey and potentially some challenges along the way?
For me, a lot of it's just luck. I get to go beautiful places with interesting animals and a lot of biodiversity. I'm not shooting crayfish in the Seine or weird fish in the Thames River, and I think that a lot. So I think it's kind of normal that some of my photographs be really attractive because I have biodiverse subjects, beautiful subjects, and lovely locations is one thing. But I think I've got a ton of help. I mean, literally none of this is me other than taking the photograph.
Right.
None of the rest is that the slideshows aren't me. There are people doing it, setting up the show. That's not me. Spanish design team, people doing things, people moving things, setting things up, taking them down. A ton of it is help that I get, and I just feel super, super privileged and lucky to get it. And for me, that's most of it. I just take pictures, and it's what other people do that makes it sort of stand out, I think.
So in some of the footage we've seen, you're also taking photos of rather unique and adorable-looking sea cows.
Yes.
How do you pronounce that?
Dugong.
Dudong. Okay. Are these the ones that are the vacuum eaters?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said when I first said it. Oh, it's eating the bottom. It's very cute.
It really is. They're amazing.
So you've expressed quite an affinity for this animal. What makes them so special?
I don't know if it's that I have an affinity for them as much as I took a lot of photos in the last year that have shown up in a lot of exhibitions. But I saw them in 2017 the first time, and then this year we went to see them 6 or 7 times. They're amazing. They spend their entire lives eating, something I'd like to do, actually.
Absolutely, me too.
They spend
Could
their
we pay
entire
both of
lives
us to just eat? Oh.
eating seagrass
Right.
and swimming and napping and going up to the surface every 8 minutes for breath. And they're just super interesting, weird-looking things. And they happen to be what either they or manatees are what led to this to the mermaid legend, the legend of the mermaid.
Before I turn the floor over to them, I wanted to share an interesting anecdote I recently learned about Hussain Charania. When he was born, his sister Renita, who was 6 years old at the time, was given 3 names to choose from for her baby brother: Kareem, Rahim, and Hussein. And we all know which one she chose.
Another parallel that I see between yourself and Prince Hussain, if I may, is also that love for art. I mean, when looking at your choice of your first degree in theater and literature, work with the art contrast for culture.
Definitely.
What I've heard from some of the musicians here about your appreciation for music and Princess Farheen's.
Awesome.
So from all of these various mediums of art, what made you choose photography for this work?
I fell into it. I don't think I really picked it. I think I don't have talent for music. I don't think I ever got into sculpting or a few other things. I fell into it, and I love taking photographs. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love immortalizing things. I love that it's reality. I mean, now there's ways of manipulating photographs and all the rest, but I love that really what you see is what you get when you take a photograph, and it lets me relive wonderful moments and revisit beautiful things, beautiful animals, incredible landscapes, and the rest.
Got it.
Mm.
So
and share it with people.
Share it with people. Mm. Thank you. So from all of the photographs in this exhibition, are you able to choose a favorite?
No.
Favorites?
No. I mean, I have some that I like more than others, but generally speaking, I take hundreds of thousands every year. Just my old cameras could take 12 photos a second. Now I can take 8 photos a second if I want to. And I do 5 to 10 trips a year. Some of them are short, some of them are longer. With flash, you have to wait 1.5 seconds between photos for it to recycle. But whales and dolphins are at the surface. You can't use flash, so it's all surface light and no flash. So I can take, if I want to, 8 photos a second, and incredible encounters, incredible, playful. If they're playing, if a calf bumps into your leg and is sitting close to you for a while and all the rest, you will take 8 photos a second. But also I have the space. I have 2 guys in Paris who help me, who are brilliant, who go through the photos. And they go through hundreds of thousands of photos every year and give me 1,000 to look at or 1,500 to look at the end of the year to put in shows. I have favorites. They're generally the most charismatic animals or the ones that came closest or most interesting. So probably out of the hundreds that you see here, I probably have 10 or 15 I like more than the rest. But the team picks them, I green light them, and I love most of them. Mm-hmm. But I only photograph things I like, basically, and I'm very lucky I'm not employed by a magazine or an organization that makes me do specific things. It's autodidactic. I photograph what I like, what I find most attractive or interesting, which is a huge, huge privilege.
Our event today is premised on the principle of what is often referred to in Islam as amana, a trust placed upon humankind to walk gently upon the earth and steward its resources in ways that are responsible and just. On behalf of the speakers today, I would like to acknowledge the land that we stand on today is and has been under the stewardship of many indigenous peoples over millennia. Perhaps now more than ever, it is our collective responsibility to restore the balance between humans and nature that has been the hallmark of indigenous tradition for millennia.
I hope you will love the images. More than anything, though, the goals of my work in conservation photography are to touch people, raise awareness, educate, and spark change. Generally, people don't protect things they don't care about, or change their habits if they're not aware of the problems and given solutions. In the words of Baba Dioum, in the end, we will conserve only what we love, we will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught. May you fall in love with my subjects, learn about their plight, and consider ways to help. Indeed, helping nature and helping humanity are not mutually exclusive. Climate change and plastic pollution are prime examples of this. Jacques Cousteau and David Attenborough might remind us that whilst we once depended on nature to live and thought the planet too large and too resilient to do it harm, nature now depends entirely on us merely to survive. Sylvia Earle reminds us the whole planet depends on our oceans, with her no blue, no green. The ocean, after all, provides us one of every 2 breaths we take. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show.
I'm wondering, as you've gone on this journey, what have you learned about yourself? Has it been patience to wait for the shot?
I'm still very, very impatient, and I think I get lucky a lot. And I take thousands of photos. I take hundreds of thousands of photos. So, because now I have 128 gigabyte cards, I have cameras that can take 8 photos a second. I try not to take 8 photos a second, but I can. Thank God for Patrick and Antonin back home in Paris, because they go through hundreds of thousands of images every year, boil them down to a few hundred, and show them to me, and that's how we select for shows and things. But I take hundreds of thousands of images, and I have this extreme luck where I can kind of go where I want and kind of shoot what I want to shoot. I always said if I was shooting crayfish in the Thames, it wouldn't look so nice, right? So I'm very, very lucky I tend to go to amazing places, or places that have significant sort of wildlife quantities or qualities, biodiversity and so on and so forth. But I've actually already forgotten the question. Sorry. Oh, patience. I don't think I have that much patience. I don't have that much patience, and I go to places that are incredible. I tend to go to places where there's quite a lot of life. I don't go very barren or boring places most of the time.
Are there certain images or certain animals that resonate with you more than others?
Marine mammals are super, super intelligent. They have like a hierarchical structure, they have family bonds, they teach each other things. Mother dolphins stay with their calves for 3 years. Mother whales stay with their calves for 1 year. The beaches in Patagonia where the orcas eat seals on the beach, actually beach themselves eat seals. Mothers teach their kids how to do that. There are midwives when dolphins have kids. It's the most unbelievable thing. So cetaceans, sea lions are the most playful things I've ever seen. They're incredibly playful and fun, are amazing. Sharks are incredible, and the fact there's over 500 species in every shape and size. Dwarf lantern sharks can fit in your hand. Whale sharks are 14 meters long. There's laterally compressed sharks, vertically compressed sharks. There's sharks that look like guitars. There's sharks that look like violins. There's sharks that look like rays and vice versa. The biodiversity of sharks is amazing. Again, marine mammals are incredible, and turtles, for some reason, I absolutely love, and I have a feeling turtles actually like me back because they stay with me quite a lot and quite often. I tend to see that.
So the affection
most of the turtles that I see seem to tolerate me quite nicely.
I'm just wondering, I mean, you had your first exhibit in New York in 2004. We are now 2023. And in that nearly 2-decade period, I'm sure you've been surprised by the speed at which the planet is changing. And do you think that people are understanding or comprehending the urgency that this poses for all of us?
I think that we're all acting too slowly, myself included. But yeah, I've seen changes, particularly with plastic, but also some coral bleaching, but I've seen plastic everywhere now. The first time I really noticed it was in the Philippines in 2017. I've seen it in the Philippines. Indonesia is one of the worst countries in the world for plastic, and when you go there, you see plastic everywhere. See it in the Galapagos, which is one of the most regulated and admired places in the world for environment and conservation. They actually sell plastic bottles in the airport, among other things. Sardinia, Galapagos, Philippines, Indonesia, even Bahamas. I never saw plastic in the Bahamas until 3-4 years ago, and now I regularly see plastic in the Bahamas. I know it was there before, but I never saw it, and now I see it everywhere. We're quadrupling plastic production. By 2050, the plastic production will have quadrupled. We'll have more plastic in our seas than fish by 2050. It's horrific. I don't know of any alternatives that are scalable or 100% reliable. A friend of mine, Ali Hidayat, who lives here in Toronto, has invested in an plastic alternative company, and their best projection has them replacing 1% of plastic bottles, only 1%. I've seen dead coral in a lot of places. I hadn't seen it before. Moorea, I went to about 5 years ago. That's where I shot the pilot whales. Had amazing, lively, beautiful, vibrant coral 15 years ago, which is now mostly dead and bleached. So I see problems a lot, and I see hooks and scars on sharks all the time. But again, I guess if you're not really looking, you won't necessarily notice it. But now that I know, I notice more and more.
Prince Hussain, thank you so much for sharing your passion and all of your fascinating glimpses of a world that most of us will never see. Thank you so much.
Thanks a ton. Thank you.
For close to 50 years, the Aga Khan Development Network and the Aga Khan University have fostered partnerships with post-secondary institutions in Canada, including here at the University of Waterloo. These partnerships are based on shared values and approaches to sustainable development that includes building economic, social, and cultural capacity around the world. One important way that we can build this capacity is by hosting events like today, where we underline the importance of biodiversity and sustainability.
I can't tell you how exciting it is to be here today, how privileged I feel to meet some of the future stewards of the planet and brightest minds in Canada. As an aside, I'm also ridiculously jealous of your youth. They say youth and education are wasted on the young, and a couple of things I can say from experience is that you absolutely miss your youth when your knees start to give way, your hair abandons you, stomach becomes less tolerant, and when, unlike pulling all-nighters at school, it suddenly takes 2 to 3 days to catch up on lost sleep. Setting the stage, so to speak, I need to start out with good news and bad news. Bad news. My generation and those before have left your planet in chaos, with a myriad problems from political instability to poverty, hunger, the unforgiving effects of climate change, plastic pollution, overuse of natural resources and unsustainable practices such as overfishing, runaway deforestation, and an unhealthy thirst for fossil fuels. For all this, I would like to say I'm sorry. The good news is that if anyone can save the planet, put a stop to the harm we're doing, and bring in a healthy dawn, that would be you. I'd like to re-emphasize that the future of humanity and planet Earth are betting and depending on you. No pressure. That your capacity for innovation, skills with technology and communication will go an extremely long way. Your intelligence and determination will carry the rest.
listening to you speak and watching, looking at all these photographs and these images, it's such a good reminder that we're just tiny drops in an ocean, right? Like how small we are compared to what we're seeing here. It's a beautiful reminder. And there's a whole other world down there. Some say that diving is a meditative experience. How would you describe it?
Definitely. No cell phones, no boardrooms, no people, no computers.
A dream.
Definitely. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. It's fantastic. You feel weightless. It's mostly quiet, and the biodiversity and things you see down there are unbelievable.
Yeah, and the connectedness that you feel.
Incredible.
Right. Some of the animals that you show in some of your photographs, they look like they're smiling, or like the turtles, having a tender moment with each other. Can you share some of the moments of humanity that you've witnessed among these animals, and moments that have stayed with you?
Of course. Let me begin by saying that dolphins smile even when they're dead.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually a physical characteristic of the animal.
Right.
The dead dolphins smile. And so, you often hear people who've been to marine parks saying, oh, the dolphin was so happy performing tricks, it was smiling. No.
It's not happy.
It's like that when it's sleeping or dead. So
Good to
know. I've had turtles stay with me for 40 minutes. And I had just recently a loggerhead turtle, which are quite rare and very, very speedy swimmers. The ones that were kissing that we saw earlier, the love bite or kiss. Right. The most incredible is the sea lions playing with me. You just saw that?
Yeah, in the video.
In 2014, a sea lion pup at Los Islotes in Mexico played with me for, usually dives are about 45 minutes, depending on how deep you go. I was in the water for an hour and 5 minutes. It played with me the whole entire dive. Going to the surface, I followed it. I went back down, it followed me. It sat on my tank, it bit at my gauge, it bit at my mask, it played with me, I had more hair back then, it was biting at my hair, doing all these funny, it was incredible, and I actually felt like I fell in love with this thing. Whales and dolphins, it really does feel like they peer into your soul because they're intelligent, they recognize when a woman is pregnant, and they echolocate, sperm whales click, they can read things, they read each other, they can read humans, they can make your chest reverberate when they echolocate. And they're intelligent. They teach each other things. They teach their kids things. They're sometimes sisters and aunts and things that act like midwives when a dolphin's giving birth. They're super intelligent.
That's
so when
incredible.
it looks in your eye, like one calf I have in a photograph looked in my eye, and the female I mentioned, who was huge, she was 13 meters long, and she just turned to me with her arms outstretched and looked me right in the eye. Maybe for 3 or 4 seconds, it felt like she was looking to my soul. It really did. So between dolphins swimming with me, whales looking me in the eye, sea lions playing with me for 45 minutes, I've had the most incredible things underwater. Just the most incredible experiences and feelings underwater.
I know you were missing the sea lion. I bet the sea lion was also heartbroken thinking about you.
Doubtful, but that's a place where there's 3,000 of them and people visit them every day of the week, so they're really used to humans.
And I mean, that's the humanity. Like the midwife thing, it just strikes me that's how they operate and how they think. And dolphins are declared non-human persons,
right.
Correct?
Yeah.
So the way that their minds work, like it's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
That's terrific. Thank you for sharing those moments with us.
Welcome.
Another animal I want to talk to you about is one that you say is often misunderstood. Sharks. Tell us about your experiences diving among sharks, and also why are sharks so important to the planet?
Why are they, sorry?
Important to the planet.
So they kill wounded and dying and weak animals. They keep the ecosystem in balance, from what I hear and read all the time. But for me, aside from the shallows 47 meters down, Jaws 2, 3, 4, The Revenge, Sharknado, and all. I just saw a film.
You watched those, right?
I just saw a film called Three-Headed Shark Attack. It was wonderful.
Bad wonderful.
Really, exactly. Give them a terrible reputation, but only 6 to 8 people are killed a year by sharks. Six to eight people around the world are killed by sharks every year. We're killing 80 to 273 million sharks every year. The generally accepted number is 100 million, but between 80 and 273 million sharks every single year. And it's crazy.
And they're at the top of the food chain, right? Of
They
this
are.
ecosystem,
Yeah.
this important
Yeah.
ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
For us, and we get, oxygen, but we breathe because of the
Yeah.
water, so it's important for them to exist. You have photos diving with them, and were you scared? I know you know that
I
only
think
6
you'd
to
have
8.
to be an idiot or a liar to say you're never scared by a shark.
Okay. Thanks for keeping it real.
I'm not a liar. I could be an idiot sometimes, but I'm not. So
I don't think so.
for big sharks, but also or very fast sharks, I had a silky shark swim at me 3 times years ago. This is like a small shark. It's like 1.10 or 1.20 m. But definitely when you see a shark coming towards you, no matter what, your heart beats a bit faster. So yes, sometimes I'm scared.
You've gone further than taking photos, though. I mean, that's one thing, right? You've created Focused on Nature,
Yeah.
a nonprofit.
Yeah.
What is the goal? What is your motivation for this nonprofit? What do you hope it achieves?
I'm hoping to save a bunch of animals and protect a bunch of ecosystems. And educate and raise awareness. So I've been trying to help elephants since I was about 10. Sadly published an awful thing I wrote when I was about 9 or 10, and I've been worried about and thinking about elephants since I was 10. I've been giving now and again to dolphins and whales since I was 16, the conference in Geneva. Found myself wanting to give more, realized that taking photos and raising awareness isn't necessarily enough.
Okay.
Focus on Nature doesn't have any boots on the ground. We don't have any programs or anything like that. So I figured if I find good organizations, I can help animals and help ecosystems. So I give to cetaceans, turtles, mantas, and sharks. Rainforests, I've helped acquire some plots in Belize and Ecuador and Guatemala. I want to do more for that, for habitat protection and for climate. Elephants and rhinos, Jane's chimps. Some of my friends jokingly call it unfocused on nature because I give to so many different species. But I can't give anything up, right? I don't want to give up elephants to do more for turtles. I don't want to stop forests for sharks. So I'm unfocused, but with a lot of heart and doing the best I can. So trying to protect animals and habitat.
Thank you so much for your...
Thank you so much.
This is great. Your passion, your dedication. You could be doing a million other things with your life, but you're dedicated to this. So thank you.
But I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'm literally the luckiest guy in the world. I have a platform I never dreamed I would have. It's been a childhood dream literally since I was 5. I mean, I got a fish tank when I was 5. I've taken photographs since I was 20-something. I never imagined I'd be doing what I love, protecting things I care about, have this incredible chance to reach multiple people, many people. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. I feel that every day. And thank you all so, so much. And thank you so, so much, really.
Yeah, it's
Thank
been
you,
great.
Prince Hussain also graciously agreed to a walkthrough of the exhibition with Farah Nasir, highlighting some of the personal experiences and treasures behind the photos. Here's a sneak peek.
Dolphins are the first non-human persons. What does that mean?
I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think we just realized how intelligent and social they are, and we've realized that they have intensely serious family structures and hierarchies. So I think it's mainly about intelligence. And I think India was the first country to pass that law a few years ago. I think a few countries followed suit. I'm not sure how many or which ones, but they're extremely intelligent and sociable, and they have amazing bonds.
And have you noticed moments of humanity when you watch them? Have you noticed playfulness?
Very often. I mean, they're just so close to each other. They're so playful. They interact so much. They stay in the same groups for so long. Again, mothers with calves for 3 years. I often see a smaller calf and a larger calf with a mother. They're incredible. And again, when you look in the eye of a dolphin or a whale and a sea lion, you can feel intelligence. You know their intelligence. read about them, you've seen it on documentaries, you know they're intelligent, and you can really sort of sense it when you're looking at them.
Before I let you go, though, I wanted to ask you about a song that has been written in honor of you and your work. It's called Child of the Ocean. It was written by Ismaili artists in the UK.
ICE, yeah, the Ismaili Community Ensemble.
Right, and it's been performed for you on every stop you've been at here in Canada. You appear moved every time you hear it.
It's the most beautiful song I've ever heard. I felt so privileged and touched the first time I hear it, and I still do. And I literally want to cry every time I hear it. I mean, tears come to my eyes every single time. And I'd like it to go super public. I'd like the artists and the writers and the musicians to get super, well, hopefully known or satisfied by it and, lauded for it, because it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. I absolutely love it. Every time I hear it, tears come to my eyes.
Stay tuned for the full interview on the.Ismaili TV. I have had the great privilege of being an exhibition host in Calgary, and the exhibition attracted a record number of visitors at the Glenbow Museum in Calgary and has continued to meet with rave reviews here in Toronto. From visitors to exhibition hosts to special guests, the experience has brought people together, forged new friendships, and reinforced our collective commitment to caring for our precious planet. Now, if you're in the Toronto area and haven't already had a chance to view it, the exhibition is on display until June 4th, and I highly encourage you to visit. If you aren't able to drop by the exhibition in Toronto, don't worry. The Living Sea Fragile Beauty will be touring other major Canadian centres in the coming months. For me, the stunning photography has been moving, and the messaging behind the images has inspired me to make more conscious changes in my life. And I hope that we can all take away from this what each of us can do to preserve and protect the beauty and majesty of Allah's creation and to be responsible stewards of the earth. Whether it be reducing consumption of water by taking shorter showers or turning off the tap when brushing your teeth, reducing our consumption of non-renewable fuels by walking, biking, or turning down the thermostat, eliminating single-use plastics such as straws, bags, and bottles, embracing reusable items instead of paper plates and containers, composting food waste, using public transportation or carpooling, planting trees to absorb carbon dioxide, supporting renewable energy sources such as wind turbines or solar panels, and educating ourselves on environmental issues. Together, we truly can be the change. We end our program this evening with excerpts from some of the special performances showcased over the past few days. The song, entitled Child of the Ocean, was first performed in the United Kingdom in honor of Prince Hussein's exhibition at the Ismaili Centre, London. For the Canadian exhibitions, 6 unique renditions of the piece were arranged as a gift to Prince Hussain. These 6 renditions represent musical genres and styles from around the world, paying homage to the diverse fabric of Canadian music. Each rendition was arranged and performed by Ismaili Muslim artists from across the country. We hope you enjoy this short glimpse into some of those deeply moving performances. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Friday Night Reflections. It has been a pleasure to be your host. Khuda Hafiz, and remember to walk gently upon this precious earth.
Born on a starry night, sweet child of the ocean, with your small hands, you put change into motion.
Wings whisper all welcome, been waiting for you to protect us. Magic that you do to save us, child of the ocean. Fearless defender, put on your armor, protect us and save us from harm. Fearless defender, put on your armor, protect us and save us from the harmers. The future is now in your hands. Take a leap, be the change, make a vow to turn the world around. What will you do today? What will
back what was stolen, another damage. Fix what is broken.